What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Metabolic Chronicles podcast. This is me, A&P. This is the second episode. What's good in the hood? I got a couple things to talk about. First off, to talk about MMA. What can I say about Cyborg? This bitch, man. I don't know exactly what the UFC wants to do with her. Because she can't make 135. She's done the catchweight fights at 140. And she says she can't make the weight because she almost dies every time she tries to make the fucking weight. So they offered her a 145-pound strap. As far as like they're making a division for her around 145. The weight she usually fights at on Invicta. So they offered her two different fights. One was a no-name chick. I forgot the name of her. I don't feel like looking it up. But they offered her that fight, and she turned it down because she said she can't make 145 in 8 weeks' notice. So I think Joe Silva said if she can't make 145 in 8 weeks, then 145 shouldn't be the weight division for her. And I agree with that because you've been fighting in Invicta for a while already. I mean, probably years. And you've always fought at 145. But now all of a sudden, they're making the division around you. It's for the strap. And they tell you, yo, fight at 145. Okay, you got 8 weeks notice. And she says she can't make the weight. I think that's just a straight up bullshit ass excuse. Probably she's trying to hold out for extra money. I don't know what it is. So then the second fight was actually a real interesting fight. It was her versus Holly Holm. Supposedly there was supposed to be a catch weight of 138. And if anybody knows, I mean, Cyborg looked like she was dying when she tried to make 140. I doubt she's going to be able to cut those extra 2 pounds to make 138. So that I heard they talked about doing it at 140. And from what they say, Holly Holm's coach Winklejohn turned it down. He said that fight isn't a good fight for her. But then I also heard that Cyborg turned it down. So because she said she won't be ready to fight till February. But the funny thing about it is that fight was scheduled for February in Brooklyn. So I don't know what the fuck Cyborg's on about. She complained that she's gonna leave the UFC if they don't make a division around her at 145. They're offering her the belt at 145 because they're making the fucking division for her ass. And then she makes up a whole bunch of excuses on why she can't make these fights. I would have loved to seen the Holly Holm fight. I think that fight would have been real interesting. I would have been leaning towards Holly Holm if that fight actually happened. I would have loved to seen it at 145. That 138 catch weight is retarded. Either you're 135 or you're 145, and that's it, or 140. But Cyborg can't make 138. I mean, she barely can make 140. Bitch was, I mean, when they showed like a little documentary, I think UFC Embedded or something, bitch was fucking in the bathroom floor, couldn't even fucking walk, trying to cut weight. So I doubt she'd be able to make that 138 if she could barely make 140. 145 is the weight class for her. I'm sorry, man, but that bitch is juiced to the gills. I mean, I wonder if do they test Cyborg, because from what I've seen, she hasn't fought in the States not once. She's juiced. I don't care what anybody tells me. You can't convince me that bitch isn't juiced. I mean, look at her face. She has a jaw. Her jaw is more manlier than mine. Like, she look like she can bite through a plate. Like a glass plate. So she could bite right through that shit and it won't even affect her. But yeah, I would have loved to seen Holly Holm versus Cyborg. I think Holly Holm's footwork, her angles, her combos would have caused a big problem for Cyborg and her running forward punches. Yeah, It would have been a great fight. You know, you get to see power versus finesse. You know, technique versus brawn. I think Holly Holm would have won that fight. You know, but I mean, I like that they're trying to open up a 145 division. That's pretty dope. The UFC is definitely pushing women's MMA in the right direction. I mean, boxing needs to take notes. You know, boxing, because they treat women's boxing like almost like a carnival sideshow and shit. The UFC is doing the right thing with women's MMA. You know, they're making these girls stars, and that's the right thing to do. Let's talk about sneakers real quick. Sauconys or Sauconys, depends on how you pronounce it. This boutique called Feature. They're putting out a Sauconys sneaker this weekend. It's based off breakfast, bacon and eggs. I wish I could say I like them, but they're fucking ugly. It's like white, brown with a pink. They're fucking ugly. The materials look nice. You know, I'm like, hey, it's a collaboration, so you know they usually step up the materials. They use premium suede, premium leather. You know, all the nice stuff. But the execution is awful. I mean, I see a lot of dudes like, whoa, it's so pretty, and I just think these dudes just like it because it's a fucking collaboration, and that's all it is. If there were like a general release, everybody would say they're fucking ugly and nobody will wear them. Feature put out some cool stuff, but those ain't cool. Like, I look at them and I'm just like, your shit's just fucking ugly. Yeah, they're gross. I wouldn't wear them, and I wouldn't recommend anybody buying them. No offense to Feature, but those sneakers are fucking ugly. Now, 24 Calates is putting out a pair of Diadora N9000s. They look fucking dope. They're like cream with hints of pink. The back, like the heel area, looks like it's made out of horsehair. I mean, but it's not overdid like they did with the Toros. I didn't find the Toros dope. I mean, I just don't like a big hairy sneaker. You know, shit looks like it's going through puberty. I didn't find it cute. And then they had like little bull horns on the laces. I thought it was corny. The color was dope, but I don't want a hairy sneaker. I guess they wanted to keep that hair theme going, but they only did it on the heel part, so it's not bad. The rest of the shoe is dope, so I can overlook that hairy ass of the sneaker. But the colorway, the execution of it is dope. I think that comes out next week, the 24 Calates one. Also, Beams, Japanese boutique store Beams is putting out an N9000, all red, white bottom. Those shits look cracked. The leather looks cracked. The suede on it looks cracked. I mean, I have a pair I got a couple pair of all red sneakers, but they look dope. I love the way, I mean, it has like this raised pig suede on the Diadora logo in the I guess you could say the toe cover, whatever the fuck it is. But it looks fucking nice. They look dope. If I wasn't broke right now from Christmas shopping, I would definitely cop those, or maybe the 24 Calates, just because it's pink and it'll make a nice summer shoe. Let's get into UFC 206. This card, I mean, they're trying to do everything to save it because, you know, Daniel Cormier and Anthony Johnson fell off the card, you know, due to Daniel Cormier getting hurt. So they try to do the interim belt between Anthony Pettis and Max Holloway. Granted, that's a dope-ass fight. I don't think it's a headlining fight unless it's like a UFC Fight Night fight. Then I can understand if they made it a headlining fight. But like a headlining for a pay-per-view, no. It's kind of hard to sell Anthony Pettis right now because he's coming, like, I mean, he just won against Alex Oliveira, but that's not a big name fighter. You know, he's coming off, I think, 3 different losses in a row, big name losses. You know, he lost to Eddie Alvarez. He lost to Rafael Dos Anjos, and he also lost to Edson Barboza. So, you know, he went down to 145. He beat Alex Oliveira, and, you know, it was a cool win, but you still, like, he has to get acclimated to 145. Max Holloway is a big test for him. Max Holloway moves a lot, attacks at angles. He never lets up. I gotta see how Anthony Pettis looks. Because last fight, he didn't look too impressive, but he didn't look whack either. He needs that footwork if he wants to beat Max Holloway. I talked about that on my first podcast. But yeah. I hope Anthony Pettis wins because I'm a big Anthony Pettis fan. I'm all about Showtime, but I'm leaning towards Max Holloway. And I hate to say that, but, you know, due to Anthony's recent performances, Max Holloway looks like the sharper fighter. He looks like the hungrier fighter. I'm hoping Anthony Pettis proves me wrong and shuts me the fuck up. So, hope you do that, Showtime, if you ever get around to listening to this podcast, which I doubt, but hey, fuck it. Next one that I'm going to talk about is Cowboy Cerrone versus Matt Brown. This is going to be an ill-fat fight. They're going to fight both at 170, which I like Cowboy 170. Since he's gone up to 170, he's been a fucking world destroyer. He looks fucking amazing at 170. I mean, he just looks... I guess that cut to 155 really fucked him up, and it showed in his performances. Granted, in 155, he wasn't a slouch. He wasn't a walkover guy. He wasn't a mid-tier guy. He was a top-level fighter at 155. But at 170, dude looks like a champion. Like, you're like, that's the motherfucker to beat right now. Like, he's just smooth. And he's been training with top-tier guys. He's been training with my nigga Joe Schilling, you know, and that's one of the top kickboxers in America. I mean, in the world, but, you know, in America, he's that dude. But, you know, I'm hoping Cowboy looks amazingly crisp. Matt Brown is the perfect fight for him because Matt Brown just wants to go on there and brawl. Matt Brown's been training with Dwayne Bang Ludwig, so I'm kind of expecting a different approach from him. Maybe more methodical, more combos. But I think when the pressure's on, he's going to revert back to old Matt Brown and come in with the lunging punches. And that's going to cost him a win. Because you can't just switch off your routine in a couple weeks or 2 months. So I'm leaning towards Cowboy. I think but it's going to be a great fight. It's definitely going to be a back and forth fight. But I think Cowboy pulls it off just because, you know, he's sharper with the hands, sharper with the striking. His wrestling is great. People are sleeping on his wrestling. You know, he showed that he got nice wrestling in his last fight. So I think Matt Brown's taking another fucking L. I mean, Matt Brown's taken, I think, like 3 L's already. So I think that the UFC's been holding on to him because, you know, he's an exciting fighter. Fans like watching him fight, even though his last couple fights haven't been exactly the greatest to watch. But, you know, we'll see. But I'm leaning towards Cowboy. I think Cowboy wins that fight, and he wins it spectacularly. Let's talk about Kelvin Gastelum. I can't make weight no matter what fucking division I'm in versus Tim Kennedy. I'm leaning towards Tim Kennedy. Even though he's been gone for almost 2.5 years or 3 years, I think he beats Gastelum. Gastelum just for some reason can't make fucking weight no matter what division he's fucking in. I don't understand this dude. He wants to fight at 170. He can never make the fucking weight. 180, these dudes are too big for him supposedly. But then he couldn't make the weight at 180. So, yeah, I think he's on a thin little fucking string right now. And if he fucks this up, I think the UFC is going to fucking cut him. Either he loses his fight and he gets cut, or he doesn't make weight and gets cut. I like Gastelum. He's got great movement. He's got great fucking wrestler. But I think Tim Kennedy is just going to be way too big for him. Because when last time Kelvin Gastelum fought at 185, he fought Uriah Hall. And Uriah Hall was huge compared to him. Even though he beat Uriah Hall, he relied mostly on his wrestling for that fight. He didn't try to strike with Uriah Hall, nothing. He just tried to wrestle him, and he won him with the wrestling. Uriah Hall, he's a hit-or-miss guy. Like, some days he looks great, some days he looks like shit. But, yeah, you know, Kelvin Gastelum beat him in the 185 division. But I think Tim Kennedy's going to be a big guy for him to beat. Tim Kennedy's explosive. Tim Kennedy can move. Tim Kennedy got pop. So, I think it'll probably go to decision, you know, because Kelvin Gastelum can take a beating. Yeah, I think it's going to decision. If not, Kelvin Gastelum gets knocked out in the second round or gets finished in the second round. But I'm leaning towards more decision, and I don't think Kelvin Gastelum. I think this is going to be his last fight in the UFC. He'll probably be in Bellator missing weight. Let's talk about another fight on that card only piques my interest just because it's Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson versus Do Hoo Choi. I'm going with Cub. You know, dude is nice. He has great striking. You know, he's very creative with his striking. Do Hoo Choi is not even top 10. I guess that was like a gimme fight for Cub because everybody else in the top of that division is pretty much they're busy right now. They have their own fight, so he has to sit around and wait. So I guess instead of being inactive, he's just like, yo, get Do Hoo Choi. And yeah, so just go with Cub. That's a sure bet right there. Yeah, just go with Cub. There's no other reason. Like that card is pretty much whack. Like 206, the card is fucking trash. They should just remove it as a pay-per-view if they expect to make their money back. I mean, yeah, there's no really marquee fighters on there. I don't understand why the UFC just didn't scrap the card and make it a fight night. I understand why, but they should have just made it a fight night card. I mean, regardless, I mean, they're sold out in Toronto or whatever the fuck they're fighting at. They should have just made that. Okay, let's talk about boxing real quick. And his bitch ass nigga Oscar De La Hoya. So, you know, ever since Conor McGregor got his boxing license, everybody in boxing been talking shit. You know, everybody's trying to, they want the money fight. They want Red Panty night. You know what I'm saying? They want the face of the fight game to choose them. And Oscar's been throwing his hat in there because he wants his fighter Canelo to fight McGregor. He said it in a couple interviews that the only fight that makes sense for Conor McGregor in boxing is Canelo because that's the big money fight. And don't get me wrong, that fight will sell ridiculous amounts of pay-per-views. You know, it's going to sell out wherever the fucking stadium they go. It's going to sell the fuck out. But my problem is, this is what I love about boxing. This is what I love about these fucking twats. Remember a while ago, Canelo said he can't fight at 160 because he's not a true middleweight. So he won't fight Gennady Golovkin. He vacated his belt and, you know, went down to, I think, 156, which isn't too much of a big difference. And Canelo was, and bitch ass Oscar De La Hoya was trying to defend that shit. Like, oh yeah, you know, he's not a true middleweight. But in the same interview, talking about McGregor, he goes, we'll fight McGregor at 160 because they're around the same weight. But isn't your man not a middleweight? So why is he fighting at 160? This shows you the bullshit that goes on in boxing. All of a sudden, for the money, you can fight McGregor at 160. But for some reason, you can't fight Gennady Golovkin at 160. The Golovkin fight is crazy anticipated. You're going to get a lot of money behind that fight. I granted, not as much as motherfucking McGregor, because McGregor got a whole motherfucking country on, you know, behind his back. But in the boxing world, and in some of the mainstream world as well, people are dying to see Canelo fight Triple G. And then on top of that, the fact that, you know, you had Canelo call out Triple G, bring him into the ring and talk all this shit, and then only to vacate your belt. It just makes you look like a fucking pussy. And then on top of that, now you going on media and you're telling these guys that you're willing to fight at 160 for McGregor. Son, you just made Canelo look even more pussy. Like, he's willing to jump in the ring with a guy who doesn't have that much boxing experience at 160. Like, it's not a problem. I can make 160. I'm a middleweight, yeah. But yet, when it came to Gennady, you're not a true middleweight now. What the fuck is up? That shit just pisses me off to know, like, oh man, it made my blood boil, you know? Because it's like, this is why I have problems watching boxing. This is why I can't watch boxing, because there's this shit that goes on. All y'all promoters, hide your fucking fighters. Stop being fucking pussy. The best fight the best. Y'all keep talking about legacy and all this shit, but all I see from these legacies are a bunch of tomato cans in your fucking record. Like, stop. Like, yo, just make the fight happen. You know? And then, like, the worst part, like, a lot of Mexican guys, they talk mad shit about Canelo. Like, he's pussy, this, that. But then y'all go and support his fights. If that's the case, if you want him to fight the best, don't support his fights. Let the motherfucker realize that he's fucking up and leave him the fuck alone And then he realized, oh shit, I gotta fight who I gotta fight because these motherfuckers don't want to watch me fight. But yeah, whatever. Like I said, pussy move by Oscar, pussy move by Canelo. Yeah, it's whack, straight up whack. I was gonna say something else. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's going on. And supposedly, oh man, there's this rapper called Kodak Black that I heard today. Holy shit, is he fucking awful. Like, I seen pictures of the dude, you know, and I saw that he got locked up for rape, you know, and now he's going to court. I mean, he's out now. From what I heard, he's out now, but he still has to go to court behind that shit. God, is he fucking ugly. So I was like, yo, let me sit down and listen to this dude. You know, let me go on YouTube real quick and put up Kodak Black. After a minute, I turned that shit off, and all I thought to myself was, this shit isn't rap. Holy shit, is that nigga special? Like, are these niggas autistic? Like, Lil Yachty, Uzi Vert, Kodak Black. I genuinely think these dudes suffer from mild retardation. Like, I mean, when I look at their faces, all I see is like, yo, this nigga special. Like, you can't give this nigga solid foods. Like, you're gonna have to feed these niggas pudding. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're special. You know, like, like, you know, like, yo, he might bite me. Like, put a helmet on this nigga. Like, when I see them, that's what I think about. Like, I'm like, yo, these niggas are genuinely retarded. And I feel sorry for the women that have to sleep with them because they gotta pay their rent. Alright, enough of them niggas. I want to talk about this Netflix series that I saw that I was like, finally, somebody did it right. It's a 4-part documentary. It's called Hip Hop Evolution. It's fucking dope. If you really want to know about the history of hip hop and all the people that made it what it is, watch it. Because they talk about, I mean, you know, you watch other documentaries and they usually just talk about the mainstream people that were out there already, like Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, and, you know, Russell Simmons, and, you know, like Def Jam and stuff like that. But these guys go back into the 70s and talk about DJ Hollywood, Coke La Rock, stuff like that, and it's fucking dope. Like, you know, I'm glad that they talked about them, you know, not just the same old guys over and over again. You know, they talk about Schoolie D and PSK, you know, like, because and a lot of rap documentaries, they always talk about how the West Coast invented gangster rap, but in this one they talk about how Philly invented it, how it started with PSK from Schoolie D, and that was dope because even Ice-T, when they talk to Ice-T, he talks about how PSK was his influence to make 6 in the morning, and I was like, that's dope. If you just need to watch it, it's dope. It's done by the right people. You know, it's a great fucking series. It's 4 parts. It's like an hour each part, 45 minutes around there. Watch it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna enjoy it. If you don't know about the history of hip hop, I highly recommend this shit. This is definitely for you to watch. You're definitely gonna learn about it, and you're gonna appreciate the shit that came before you and see why a lot of cats like around my age, from the 30s, even the late 20s, why we don't like what is I don't call it hip hop. You know, it's not hip hop. Sorry, it's the furthest thing from hip hop, but rap. You know, what you guys call rap nowadays, and it's not even rap either because all you guys doing is humming and singing. So technically, that's not even rap. You guys, that trap shit is not rap. Yeah, I mean, watch it. Hip Hop Evolution is on Netflix. If you got Netflix, check it out. It's fucking dope. Yeah, man. I know there's another UFC fight this Friday. It's the Black Beast is fighting. He's gonna win. They're giving him a easy fight. So he's the headlining. He's the headliner. The rest of the card is pretty much boring. I'm gonna watch it anyway because that's just me, and I'm gonna take notes and yeah, I'm gonna talk about it once it's done. Like, oh fuck, that shit was great. Excuse me. That shit was great. You know, there might be some good fights in there, but usually the lower tier fighters are wrestlers that like to grab and just hug each other all fucking night. So, you know, I'll probably be in for a long night. But yeah. Go watch Hip Hop Evolution. There's dope sneakers coming out this weekend and next weekend. The Beams, the feature joint for Sauconys. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but if you guys want it, go cop it. Oh, and on top of that, Sauconys.com just dropped the Dirty Snow sneakers. There's three different pairs of sneakers that you can cop. They're called the Dirty Snow edition. I'm not too big on them. They look alright, but you know, they're premium, so the materials on them are going to be real nice. I think they dropped this weekend, or they probably dropped already. There's not too much hype behind them, so you probably can cop a pair. They're probably like $120, because usually all their collaborations are like $120 or $130. I mean, their premium sneakers are like $120. Excuse me, it's not a collaboration. But yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say. You know, I really want the 24 Calates, so if anybody's there generous and wants to buy me a pair, cop them for me, son, and I will shout you out for the rest of my life. Yeah, I mean, besides that, there's not pretty much nothing else going on. I mean, I've been stuck in a Metallica album for a while. Spit Out a Bone, or Spit the Bone, is probably like one of my favorite tracks on that album. It's fucking sick. Yeah, there's nothing else really to talk about. So I'll drop another podcast once that pay-per-view finishes. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this shit. I'm sorry it was kind of short, but that's all I got for today. You know, the UFC 206 card isn't too stacked, so there's not too much to talk about. I wish it, like I said, I wish it would have just made that a fight night card instead of a pay-per-view. Or at least lower the price of the pay-per-view, because well, it doesn't have the fight that you want to see. It doesn't have Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Johnson, so you kind of don't want to see it, but I do want to see it because I want to see who wins that fight between Pettis and Max Holloway. Cerrone and Matt Brown, like I said, is a good fight. That's more of a fight night fight. Same thing with Du Hui Choi and Cub Swanson, you know, and same thing with Tim Kennedy and Kelvin Gastelum. It's more of a fight night card, not a pay-per-view. Yeah. Oh, let's talk about Bellator. Sorry. Now I know what the fuck I was talking about. See, my brain, I gotta write notes. Man, as much as I love what Scott Coker's been doing with Bellator, I also hate what he's been doing with Bellator. These fucking old people fights need to stop. He almost ended up killing fucking Dada 5000 and Kimbo Slice in that fight. I mean, Kimbo Slice did die. Rest in peace, Kimbo. He needs to stop. I don't want to see Hoist Gracie fight no more. I don't want to see Ken Shamrock fight no more. I don't want to see Tito Ortiz fight no more. I don't want to see Chael Sonnen fight anymore. These guys are old and washed up. I understand they bring fans and they bring eyes to the TV, but son, it's awful. They when you keep putting on these fights, all it does is push MMA. It pushes your organization back another 2 or 3, 4 fucking years, because for all the props that the UFC gets, and you know, people want to look at more MMA. Then when they see, you know, they check out Bellator, and then you got your old fogies fighting and shit, and it looks awful when they're boring. Then people tune out from your product because you keep putting on these old motherfuckers. Because the first thing they think, like, oh man, you got these boring ass ex-UFC fighters on here. I do want to see Rory McDonald in Bellator already. I think he cleans house over there. You know, he's definitely going to be the big fish in a small pond over there. Granted, Bellator does not have bums. It's just they don't have as high quantity of quality opponents as the UFC. So he might have trouble with a couple fighters, but I don't think he has as much trouble as if he was fighting like a Robbie Lawler or Wonderboy Thompson or a Tyron Woodley. You know, these guys I don't think are at the same level as those guys. Benson Henderson needs a win badly. He hasn't been looking great in Bellator. His last fight he looked good, but he almost got creamed in that first round by Will Chandler. and he got suplex, which was like suplex of the year. If they had a award for move of the year, that was move of the year. That motherfucker got suplex. He needs a win badly. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, Patricky was giving him problems. Patricky was fucking him up till he broke his foot. But besides that, I mean, that's the only win you got, and it wasn't an impressive win. You were losing that fight, and then you lost to Will Chandler. So it's like he needs a win badly, and he needs to look great in that win, because he looks like, you know, he's not there. Maybe because, you know, he wants to join the military and all that shit. So maybe that's in the back of his mind. So maybe he's not fully focused on fighting. But he needs a win badly. Because, you know, you're coming from the UFC. You were one of the top dogs in the UFC. And then to come to Bellator and you're losing like that, you know, it kind of makes everybody question, like, do you still have it? You know, and I'm not a big fan of Benson, but he does have exciting fights. And I do want to see him do great in Bellator. I do want to see him win a belt in Bellator. Because so far, the only nigga who's won 2 belts in 2 different organizations, I mean, a belt in each organization is Eddie Alvarez. And I think Roy McDonald might be the next guy to win the belt in that organization. But back to Bellator. They need to cut out all these old people fighting and all these sideshow fights. You know, Tito Ortiz, he's been trashed for years. He's a fucking diva. He's a boring fucking fighter nowadays. I mean, I never liked him as a fighter anyway, because he just comes off as a jock douchebag. But Scott Coker needs to stop rehashing these old fighters. What made Strikeforce so fucking great was that he would build up young talent and make them stars. Same way he did with Ronda Rousey. Same way he did with Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier. Like, he built these guys up. Nick Diaz. Like, when Nick Diaz was in the UFC the first go around, he was popular, but not what he is now. When he went to Strikeforce, that's what made him a star, because y'all built him up. Y'all got Michael Venom Page. Y'all not utilizing him correctly. This dude needs to be fighting top tier fighters. Stop giving him dudes that aren't even ranked in the top 15. Like, I don't understand what you guys are doing. I understand, you know, a slow burn like the UFC did with John Jones, but eventually they threw him to the wolves, and he had to, you know, sink or swim. But god damn, like, y'all not giving Michael Venom Page any kind of real fucking competition. His last fight was boring as fuck. That dude did not want to engage Michael Venom Page at all. At all. That fight was terrible. Then on top of that, it showed a big flaw in Michael Venom Page's game. If you don't attack him, he doesn't know what the fuck to do. He just stays there looking at you, waiting for a counter. That makes you an extremely boring fighter. He needs to learn to be offensive, and not just waiting for you to attack him. It was a boring fucking fight. Michael Venom Page said himself that he wasn't himself. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but it was an awful fight. Michael Venom Page should be... I personally think the UFC needs to get him. He's charismatic. He's amazing in the ring. He knows what to say. He knows how, you know, he's just the all-around package. I want to see him fight higher competition, higher level competition. I don't want to see him fighting these fucking tomato cans in Bellator. If his contract is up, UFC, get him. You have a star in your hands. You need to pick him up. And you need to give him good fucking money. Plain and simple. Let's talk about Amanda Nunes versus Ronda. I still don't have a prediction for that fight. For the simple fact is just, you know, it's far off. I haven't seen Ronda in training. I know what to expect from Amanda Nunes. She's nothing special. Tate just shit the bed when she fought that girl. Amanda Nunes is not even a top tier fighter. I don't, you know. She's the perfect style for Ronda to beat. So it all depends on how Ronda has recovered from that loss. Is she still the same? Is she still hungry? Is she just coming back to see if she still got it? That's the difference. Is she coming back to see if she still got it, or is she coming back because she wants a motherfucking belt back? Like, that's two different mind states. I'm hoping that she's coming back because she wants her fucking belt back. That women's division has been a toss-up ever since she's lost. That just shows you how dominant she was. Ooh. I do want to see the fight. I want to see how my bitch looks. Yeah, we done over here. I'll hit you guys up when I'm done. I'll make a new podcast once UFC 206 passes by, and we'll see the aftermath of what goes on. If you guys are in the New York area, give me a second. Let me get my phone. All right, if you guys are in the New York area and you're into fucking hardcore, do I have a show for you? Sorry, I'm on my phone checking my Facebook right now. Okay, so we have on December 10th, my people's Floras birthday show. Come through. It's gonna be an early show. It starts at 1. It's gonna be in St. Vitus Bar in Brooklyn, 1120 Manhattan Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11222. Okay, so it's going to be a $10 show, all ages. Doors open at 1. Show starts, I think, at 2. It's going to go all the way to 5:30. This is my people's Flora's birthday show. It's going to be All Torn Up, Decimate the Living, Rebelmatic, Red Arcade, and the Unabombers. So if you want to come see authentic New York hardcore, come through and represent. It's $10 a head, all ages. Early show at St. Vitus Bar, 1120 Manhattan Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. That's if you're in the New York area, or maybe in the tri-state area, and you want to come through and watch some early hardcore. December 10th, in Brooklyn, St. Vitus Bar. I'm gonna repeat the address again. 1120 Manhattan Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Doors open at 1. It's $10 to get in, all ages. Yeah, it's my people's Flora's birthday show. So, like I said, All Torn Up, Decimate the Living, Rebelmatic, Red Arcade, the Unabombers. I'm gonna be there, and then I'm gonna leave early. I'm gonna be there till the show ends, and then I'm gonna head home and get ready to watch my UFC and shit like that. But yeah, come through, enjoy some hardcore, and yeah, this is the end of the motherfucking podcast, the Metabolic Chronicles podcast. I'm AMP. This is the second episode. I'm getting the hang of this shit, son. Eventually I might have guests on here and all that stuff. But like I said, I'm getting the hang of this shit. Yeah, that's what's been going on in the fight game. I put you onto some sneaker shit. I don't talk about Jordans and shit like that because I don't like Jordans. I don't really talk about much about Nikes because, I don't really rock too many Nikes. I'm a Diadoras Sauconys guy, so most of the time that's what I'm going to be talking about. Once in a while, tonics and shit. But, yeah. And, hardcore and shit like that. But, yeah, though. Peace out. Enjoy your motherfucking weekend, bitches.